Hello, everybody, and welcome to another community
First of all, Mayor,
conversation
thank you very much for giving me the
on
opportunity.
Facebook Live.
Just one portion of the
We serve the many homes of people
every officer that I've met has that passion.
Hello, everyone, and happy Earth Day week. Welcome to Community Conversations. I'm Mayor Eric Pappenfuss, and I did want to start off with the city's celebration of Earth Day. Yesterday, you may have seen, but we inaugurated something rather incredible and precedent-setting for the city, our first 2 electric vehicles for the city fleet. And we did so because, thanks to a grant from DEP and the PA Driving Forward Grant Program, we were able to install new EV charging stations, 8 of them, on the garage there in City Island. Now, they're open to the public. You can use them too, but it's going to allow us as a city to begin charging our own fleet. And our first 2 cars that we purchased under our new fleet management program that are electric were inaugurated yesterday. They were Ford Escapes. We also had some Chevy Bolts and some Nissan Leafs on display. And they're going to be going to our 2 sanitation enforcement officers. I know there's a lot of concern about illegal dumping and trash in the city. Well, they now have these nice new electric vehicles. They'll be able to charge them up every night. We're going to save thousands of dollars a year in gasoline and maintenance and other issues. And we were really proud to do that on Earth Day. We had to fight to get those cars in because they're in a lot of very, very high demand. We also announced a new partnership with the support of Giant Foods and Stonyfield Organic to provide more sustainable parks maintenance techniques. No longer pesticides, but natural organic ingredients for beating back the weeds in our parks and playgrounds. And that was exciting as well. $25,000 donated from those organizations. So it's been a good Earth Day week. There's a lot of positive momentum there. Our parks maintenance team is hard at work, and we are looking forward to utilizing our parks and our playgrounds to their highest extent possible, especially as we move into the summer. Quick little update, the Chutes and Ladders playground design is going along very well, and the playground in Uptown on 4th Street near the National Fire Museum is almost done being renovated, and it's looking really good. That's part of a major effort on the part of the city to renovate, along with Capital Region Water, all of our city parks and playgrounds, both infrastructure and stormwater management practices. So that's the news for Earth Week. I want to next turn to some other positive news, and I know we have Gloria Merrick on the show, and we'll get to her, and we're going to talk to her a little bit about what LHAC has been doing. But I was able to go out and visit the Kate vaccine bus up at 14th and Dairy yesterday with the Latino Center and the Latino Connection. It was a great event. Over 200 people were vaccinated. They didn't have to journey far from their homes in most cases. They didn't have to, maybe some didn't have a car, but they were able to walk in and get vaccinated and do so because of that event. And I wanted to announce today that the Kate bus will be in Uptown Harrisburg on Monday at the Hadi Mosque. And if it is similar to what happened just yesterday, there will be room for walk-ins. There's going to be a certain number. You're encouraged to certainly sign up in advance. But if all the slots are full, you can still come. And if some people are no-shows, and there weren't too many no-shows, but there were a few, you can take those slots and get vaccinated. Again, this is at no charge, and it might be easier for some people than signing up and going through the drive-through over at HAC. So if you live in Uptown Harrisburg, near the Hadi Mosque there on Division, you know where it is. You can walk over anytime after 10 a.m. on Monday and see if they have some slots available. We're going to continue with our inner-city vaccination efforts, and we really have to continue to get the word out. I was pleased at how many folks were there getting vaccinated yesterday, but as I've been knocking on doors, there's still a lot of misinformation out there about the vaccine. It is safe, it is effective, and it's the best way to prevent the spread of COVID, and it's something that I would strongly recommend for all of our residents. So let's get vaccinated and take advantage of these opportunities. And on the health news front, I wanted to share our BioBot data for the week, which continues to be positive. Moment, bring up that graph, and you're going to see now we have a sustained downward trend here for the last several measurements. You can look there as we head towards May. We've been down for the last 3 tests, and that's good news. Now, the projections for Harrisburg are that we are still in an estimated 80 new cases a day. But in reference to the other samples, we're now pretty much in the middle of the pack compared to other communities that are being tested. And that is the lowest incidence rate that we've had in quite some time. If you look at the map, we're almost back to where we were last summer. And that entire spike that we saw over the winter and the holidays has really come back down. We're not through the woods yet, though. And if we want to keep those numbers in the right place, people need to get vaccinated. So I hope folks will do that. We mentioned we're going to have a full set of activities for our parks and playgrounds this summer, but we're also going to be bringing back here on May 1st, coming up soon, the return of Saturday nights in the city. We're really excited about this. Now, this is an initiative by the DID to encourage people to come out and dine outside. There was some talk about whether or not this could be expanded to other parts of the city, and the answer is, of course, it can. But it is a restaurant-driven event. If other restaurants want to submit proposals to the city, we will assist. Just as we're assisting the DID in closing off streets and making it possible for them to do this in the downtown. So Saturday nights in the city, returning May 1st. I hope people will make a reservation at some of their favorite restaurants and come back to dining al fresco in the heart of the city of Harrisburg. Also, a bit of a heads up again for the very important city council meeting that's going to be taking place this coming Tuesday, April 27th. There are 3 things on the agenda which are extraordinarily important for the city's financial future. The first is we have a new agreement with the ICA, which is important because that is necessary for us to borrow publicly. We then have an agreement with AMVAC, our bond insurer, to essentially redo our liabilities there with our general obligation bonds and the forbearance agreement, which is going to save the city millions of dollars. And we have a contract for an underwriter, a bond underwriter, which will allow us to defease our stadium bonds. And these are all parts of our current existing debt. We've brought the debt down to a very manageable level. We're looking to erase it entirely. And this will be an opportunity for the city to get a credit rating, as I say, to defease the stadium bonds, and then put us in a position where we can potentially do a new bond issue for infrastructure, something which I know people want to see, especially so that we can fund a citywide streets and road paving plan, something which the city hasn't done since the 90s. There's been a lot of neglect, but we're finally in a financial position to be able to do so. So that is really good news. All of that is being introduced and or voted on Tuesday. So tune in. It's it's a combination work session, legislative session. They're going to have the work session first, then the legislative session. It's all starting at 5:30 on Tuesday. And of course, it's virtual. So you have to come in via Zoom. The fact that we'd like to finance a citywide paving plan and infrastructure brings us to our next point, which has to do with the new tool for pothole reporting throughout the city. Now, it's only very recently that hot asphalt has been allowed, and I know folks are interested. We've got a paving crew that is out every day paving potholes throughout the city, and we thought it would be helpful for them and for us as we move forward into the summer to have an interactive tool where people could basically go to the website, report a pothole, document it, and then allow us to literally take it off that list by fixing it. Potholes should not be confused with what you're seeing in certain wards of the city, like the 7th and 8th ward, where you're seeing UGI, the gas company, replacing the gas lines. When they dig up a street and they replace the gas line, they have to come back and put a permanent paving coat on top of that and repair the street to the condition it was before they started. They've been working all through the winter. So they've been working through November all the way through May. In certain wards, they've torn up a lot of streets. And again, with hot asphalt only now being available, they haven't been able to return those roads to their proper state, but they will be. So you're going to see them out paving. You're going to see the city out collecting potholes. And then you're going to see an effort on the part of the city to pay for what really needs to happen, which is the paving of all of our neighborhood streets. $150 million is the estimate for what that's going to cost just to repave the streets right now in Harrisburg that need it. That's not something that can be done at once, but it's something that can be done over the course of a number of years with a proper public bond offering. But let's talk about this pothole reporting tool, and I'm pleased our first guest is Evan Rubin. You remember him, I think, if you're a watcher of this show. He is our GIS administrator, and Evan, why don't you walk folks through a little bit what they can do with this new reporting tool? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for having me on. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to view the pothole reporting tool. So you should see my screen now, the pothole reporting tool available on harrisburgpa.gov/potholes. Again, that's harrisburgpa.gov/potholes. And very simply, you'll be able to view this interactive map and place a pin on the location of your pothole. Additionally, you'll be able to go down and type in here your address and use your current location. So if you're using a mobile device, you can simply click on this button here and they'll take you right to your lat long. And we wanted to keep this form very simple and very easy. So we just added a pothole details where you can add in your address, your location, any sort of specific information, and then a phone number and email so we can follow up once the pothole is filled.
Yeah, thanks, Evan. That's a great tool, and what's nice about it is not only can residents report it in real time, but the Public Works team can sign in, log in, and then respond as the potholes are addressed. And it's similar, isn't it, to what we did last year and what we're going to continue to do this year in terms of reporting for fireworks?
Correct. It'll be the same style of form. You'll be able to type in your address and add in your lat long location to report fireworks and report potholes.
Great. And the fireworks map is just harrisburgpa.gov/fireworks. So you can choose fireworks or you can choose potholes, and you can do it. And I know, having been out and about, that we are starting to have fireworks return. It won't be a surprise, I think, as we get closer to the 4th of July holiday, that we'll begin to hear those. And we're encouraging people to map the fireworks in part so that we can do more education and more proactive outreach in certain neighborhoods. So it's very helpful if you can do that. The fireworks is a slightly different use than the potholes, which will help us, steer our public works crews to the right place, and also help you see what they're doing in real time. And as I say, they're out every day fixing those potholes. And the long-term plan for the city is a fully funded, comprehensive neighborhood street repaving plan. Well, thanks, Evan. Any final things you'd like to add about the website? Can you give people a little bit of a snapshot? I know I've heard folks say, "Hey, this website is is hard to navigate, hard to find." Seems pretty easy to go to harrisburgpa.gov/fireworks or /potholes. But I understand we're going to have a newly designed website launching here pretty soon. You want to just mention that?
Yes, we're going to be having a new website. I'll give a very quick snapshot here. You can see my screen. It'll include new navigation. And before we started this project, we asked the public for their top resources. So we'll be including the most common resources, such as trash and recycling information, paying a bill, and all sort of the top stuff that'll be easily navigable from the website. So we'll give more on that in the next few weeks.
Yeah, we'll have you back to discuss it, and it's going to be an exciting launch. And I know people will find it a lot easier to use and navigate. So thanks, Evan. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. And now we want to turn to the fact for the main show today, that is April is National Volunteer Appreciation Month. And we want to honor the service and of these volunteers in the community. And as a result, we're sort of dedicating today's topic to volunteering. And we've got a number of different important local entities on the show today, and they can sort of showcase the volunteer opportunities that exist in each of these. And I think it's important, especially as we begin moving past COVID, people are interested in interacting and volunteering and getting out and making a difference now more than ever after a sort of year of confinement. And so we want to sort of spotlight and highlight what's going on. And I want to start with Kathy Anderson Martin. She is the Director of Resource Development at our friends at the Salvation Army of the Harrisburg Capital Region. And earlier in the pandemic, we had Salvation Army on to talk a little bit about what it's doing. But why don't we just begin, and you can each plan to begin in this way. Tell us basically, what has the Salvation Army been doing to help folks get through the pandemic? And welcome.
Much for letting me join you today. We have been quite busy this past year and been in the building and in the office every day, serving our community. For instance, our food assistance has been operating on a contactless curbside basis versus our choice shopping pantry. And we have been serving 3 times the people that we would typically serve in a given month. Prior to the pandemic started, we were serving about 500 to 700 people a month through our pantry. And now we're doing about 1,500 to 2,000. Last April, it was 3,900. And we've been very fortunate to have volunteers in the building almost every day throughout this year, helping us, or that never would have been able to, we never would have been able to accomplish those goals. And we've had kids in the building almost every day. We have kids in our school year enrichment program right now, and we'll have 83 joining us for our summer program here in a couple of months. So we've been busy. Nothing's really changed other than how programs are delivered, but we've still been conducting pretty much everything we did before.
Wow, that's wonderful. And you've got a great new facility, more space than ever to be able to address the community's needs. So what can volunteers do to help, and how would potential volunteers be able to sign up and help work for the Salvation Army?
We post a lot of our volunteer opportunities on a site called timetosignup.com/Salvation Army HBG. So someone can go visit that site and they will see opportunities to help in our food pantry, our contactless curbside drive-through that will soon be ramping back up to our choice shopping model. And there's also opportunities to help in our warehouse. For instance, before the pandemic, we were rescuing food from 10 different retail stops a week. Now we're doing about 22 stops per week. So there's lots of food coming in that needs to be sorted, repackaged for our needs, and then sharing with program partners. And we also have something on there for meals for our summer youth kids. We provide breakfast, lunch, and in some cases dinner to some of those, to the kids. But we ask volunteers to come in at least once a week and give a little special meal, maybe a lasagna or fried chicken or something like that. And those opportunities are on the Time to Sign Up web site. And they can, of course, always contact our office because there's always lots of other things going on and will continue to be so as we bring in the youth programs. And there it is. So there's our curbside food pantry, our summer youth enrichment, and then that final folder on May 7th, we're having our Hero at Home special event, and for our sponsors and so forth on a tent outside. But after the sponsor event from 2 to 5, we're inviting the community for a free meal, activities for the kids, information displays. And we do ask families to just go on there and sign up if they're coming so that we know how many folks we have coming and can kind of keep that manageable. So that's what we've got going on. And thank you so much for letting us share that.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. And it certainly made it easier very easy for volunteers to sign up and get the information. That's great to see. If folks need clearances to work with kids, do you help them get those?
Yes. The sign up, you go on and put on your information and so forth. There's a lot of information that we need from those folks that'll be volunteering with kids, and certainly a full clearance package, but we have a volunteer coordinator to walk interested folks through that process.
That's great. I figured you did, but it makes it really easy for folks. No mystery, nothing. There's going to be somebody there to help them get what they need, and then put them in a position where they can make a difference. So, thanks for sharing that. One final question, Kathy. Why in your mind is it important for people to volunteer for organizations like the Salvation Army?
Well, this past year, we have 26 staff people, a few part-time and then full-time staff. And last year, there were over 33,000 people that came through our doors, our campus for one need or another. So 26 of us cannot meet the needs of 33,000. So we had over 1,600 people this past year, even during a pandemic, that volunteered in some capacity or another to help us. So we survive and are able to help the community because of folks who volunteer to help us. But I think the volunteers get something good out of it as well. As you mentioned, there's a lot of folks who are craving community, craving that opportunity to get together and be with people. Today, as I sit here, there are 20 educators in another part of our building strategizing on outreach to homeless youth and at-risk youth throughout the city and surrounding communities. So it takes a lot of folks from all different ways and walks of life to come together to help people in our community.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us today and sharing the website and other information. And we'll see if folks have any other specific questions at the end. But let's go now to Ross Willard, who is the Chief Mechanical Officer, the CMO for Recycle Bicycle. Our good friends. Hey, Ross, let's start with saying, first of all, that Recycle Bicycle has a new home. It's moved since maybe most people remember. What's tell us a little bit about where you are now.
Well, we have moved. We're in the heart of the hill at 1722 Chestnut Street, and we have a permanent home. We bought an old warehouse and we have recycled it and renovated it. So we're excited to be in the very core of the city, almost really the center of the city is what it amounts to.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and we're really excited for you. Aside from the new home, tell us how you've been making it sort of through the COVID pandemic. What's been your approach, and how has it affected your operation?
Well, like lots of other groups, when COVID first came around, we were not sure what it was. So for about a month, we, in essence, closed the doors and we went mobile. So our phone line was always open. Essential workers could call and say, hey, their bike was broken. And we would then call other volunteers in whatever municipality they were in. Didn't have to be Harrisburg. And then we would help them get their bike fixed without using the facility in Harrisburg. So we were mobile for about a month. And then since bike shops are considered an essential business, we opened back up and we're always there Monday afternoons, Tuesday nights, Saturday mornings. And with social distancing, temperature checks, and all the other good stuff, we were back in operation to help people because people need to have their bikes because some people don't want to ride on a bus because it's too confining. So the bike has been the boom all across the United States.
Yeah, biking is seeing a great renaissance with the pandemic. More people engaging in outdoor exercise and opportunities. Let me ask you two quick questions. One, first of all, if you need a bike for work or for fun, how do you get a bike from Recycle Bicycle?
So we're a common sense bike shop. The sign isn't the free bike store; it's Recycle Bicycle. So people come in and they help fix their own bike. And that way they have value in it. They help fix it. And what we don't want is somebody come in and say, hey, I need a bike. And I'll say, what's wrong with your bike at home? And here it has a flat tire, but they want us to give them another bike. So we make them go home, get the other one, which turns out to be in better shape than the one they have. So it's a little bit of time in, build your own bike, and we require a locking system for the adult bikes. So that's it.
Great. And if I've got old bicycles at home or I'd like to make a donation, how do people donate to Recycle Bicycle?
So the bikes, you can bring them to 1722 Chestnut whenever we're open. It always helps that to happen. Or they can always donate money on the website. But as you can see in the picture, the two twins there weren't ready for regular two-wheel bikes yet. So they end up with scooters or three-wheelers. But we have families come in and Dad there help them fix their own bikes. So those bikes The little three-wheeler you see actually was my neighbor's kid. And I took it to the shop, and the next night it went out to that cute little twin, and it's back out being recycled. So it's donate bikes, donate money, let's go.
That's great, and you've clearly explained how volunteerism is really at the heart of everything that happens at Recycle Bicycle. You want to put in those hours from folks so that they can have a stake in their own bikes and help teach and spread the love of bicycling to others. But let's talk about volunteerism. Do I have to be handy? Do I have to know what I'm doing? Will you educate me if I'm interested in volunteering?
Yes. In other words, we need mechanics, but even if you don't want to be a mechanic, we need greeters, friendly faces to say hi and talk to the people when they show up at Recycle Bicycle, because we want to be part of the community. Because if we have the opportunity to talk to a young man about going to hack, that's the most important thing. But when it comes to bicycles, if you've seen the picture right there, the one volunteer was actually 75. She didn't come to us until just this last year, and we trained Nan how to be a bike mechanic. And one of the earlier pictures was Kate. She lives on 2nd Street in Harrisburg. She's a bike tourer. And so we train her, but I got to stop and go to this picture. This little girl is helping to fix her own bike. And she's just tickled pink that she's pumping up the tires. So we train everybody. We don't care who you are. I mean, guy, girl, big, tall, it doesn't matter. We'll help you learn more about bicycles.
Okay, and what's the best way to reach out to you? Just to show up or call, or what's the best way?
You can call the number, it's on the website, or it's basically show and go. If the doors are open, we have something for you to do, and you'll learn. And the easiest way to teach some people is have them just take apart the bikes because they've never used a wrench before, and it's a mystery. So taking it apart is the easiest way to learn how that machine works. So it's show and go mostly.
And why don't you tell us the best hours one more time?
Again, it's Monday lunch, 12 to 4, Tuesday supper, 5 to 8, Saturday, 9 to 12.
There you go. All right. And then I guess as a final question, Ross, you also do a lot to help prevent bike theft. And, talk a little bit about those efforts and what people should do if their bike happens to get stolen.
We at Recycle Bicycle have teamed up with the Harrisburg Police Department, and we register bikes for free. Because if your bike is stolen, please call the police. Because you'll hear the comment, the police won't do anything. They want to do something. But what they don't want to have happen is they just find bikes later on, they put them in the basement, they must hold them for 3 months, and nobody calls them. They want to give you your bike back, and you stand a better chance of getting it back if you've registered it or at least written down the serial number. So it's, if your bike is stolen, call the police. Make sure it's registered ahead of time and use a locking system. Everybody says, nobody's going to take my bike. I'm running in the store for 1 second. It's going to disappear. So every time you walk into a store, lock your bike.
Good advice. And thanks again, Ross, for all that you do. And it's great to see you thriving at your new location. Let's go to Samantha Garvey, who is the events and volunteer coordinator at Tri-County Community Action. Samantha, so glad to have you with us. I was just out your way yesterday, as I was saying, but let's talk a little bit. What's Tri-County doing these days for the community, and how has COVID affected your operations?
Hi, Mayor. Thank you so much for having me. And just to give a little bit of background about Tri-County Community Action, we're a community action agency that works in Cumberland, Perry, and Dauphin County. And our main mission really is to eliminate poverty in our communities and combat the cycle of poverty. And we do that through combating low wages, through budgeting, through case management, through financial literacy classes. We also work to improve housing stability in the communities that we serve through homeownership classes and through energy assistance. We work to invest in early childhood education through parenting classes, through early childhood education and youth development. And then lastly, we really want to create communities of opportunity, and we do that through neighborhood revitalization, And we actually have an Allison Hill Farmers Market, and that's a really good program that gives food security to Harrisburg and the Allison Hill community, and it helps to provide local produce. And actually yesterday I did a diaper drive up in Shippensburg. I'm sure if any of you have kids, you know that during the pandemic, it was really hard to find diapers. So that's something else that we've been doing through the pandemic, and helping with energy assistance to really help out the communities that we're serving.
Yeah, you guys do so much, and you're really a cornerstone organization for us here in the city and for the region. So let's talk a little bit about volunteer opportunities at Tri-County. If people are watching this and they want to get involved, how can they sign up? What can they assist with?
Sure. So I'm the events and volunteer coordinator, so please contact me. I'd love to send you out in our community. You can give me a call. My number is 717-232-9757, and my extension is 117. You can go on our webpage, which they just showed, at cactricounty.org, or send me an email. It's super simple, volunteer@cactricounty.org, and we'd love to have you volunteer. We have numerous volunteer opportunities that you can find on our website, but some of the ones that we're doing right now is we're doing community cleanups, we're doing gardening. I talked a little bit about Allison Hill Market, and we could really use people that happens June through October to help out with really setting up, taking down, helping with transactions. If anyone is bilingual and can speak Spanish and English, we would love to have you to help translate. And we also have a van service up in Northern Dauphin that helps to shuttle people to and from appointments when they otherwise wouldn't have transportation. And actually something we're doing the first week of May, we're looking for people to help get seeds and plants out to the local Harrisburg community. This is a COVID-friendly event. We're having people use their own cars and deliver them to the houses in Harrisburg. So if you have a car and you're interested in getting plants and seeds out to the community and you're available the first week of May, please give me a call, send me an email. We'd love to have you.
Oh, that sounds great. Perfect task for Earth Day week here. When I was out yesterday, it's really pretty transformational what's been going on around where you're located there on Derry Street. Capital Region Water has done a lot of green infrastructure repairs. There's new accessibility ramps, new sidewalk, new green infrastructure for stormwater management. It's looking good, and I noticed these large planters placed all throughout the community. Can you talk a little bit about your partnership with Sprocket and the efforts to get those get people engaged in helping beautify the community through painting murals?
So you can see them, like the mayor was saying, out in our local community, and we're partnering Sprocket, having uber local artists in the local community, Harrisburg and Allison Hill, and really trying to beautify our community with these planter murals. We had people out talking in the local community, trying to get artists actually at the end of last month in April, really canvassing the community, making people aware that we're doing this project. We're trying to beautify our communities with these planters. And if there's any artists that are in the community and are interested in having a mural design, we would love to have you. Again, my email is volunteer@cactricounty.org. Send me an email. I can send you more information about how to sign up, and we'd really love to see your artwork.
That's great. And it's not only a beautification project, but it's also an opportunity to help support local artists, right? I mean, there's stipends available for the artists. There's how many planters all told, do you know, approximately, will be part of this?
Off the top of my head, but again, if you want to give me an email, I can definitely send you more information about the project. But we are definitely, like I said, excited about it, having local artists, and they do receive the stipend. They don't need to bring their supplies. We provide those supplies as well. So we're really, like I said, trying to beautify the community and get those artists out to help paint those murals.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that, and certainly going to be a lot of those, and thanks for all of your efforts. I guess just as a final question, why would you recommend, and why do you need volunteers? Here we are in Volunteer Appreciation Week. Why is it important for an organization like yours to have a regular flow of volunteers?
it's so important. And I mean, the reason why I wanted to work as a staff at Tri-County Community Action is you could really see the change that we're imparting in our community. And if you want to help your community, if you want to get out and help eliminate poverty and help the people in your community, please come out. We do 3 counties. We had Cumberland, Perry, and Dauphin. So it's a large space, and we don't have the staff to be going out to all the parts of our communities. So it's really important. And even if you can't donate, financially, even though we will accept donations as a nonprofit, but even if you can't donate financially, you can donate your time, and your time is such a valuable resource that you can donate to your community. And you can really see the change when you come and volunteer at Tri-County Community Action here, and we will take your time and you will see that change. So please send me an email, volunteer@cactricounty.org, and we would love to have you.
Okay, well, thanks so much, Samantha. Tri-County is as I said, a true partner in all the things that are happening positively in Harrisburg and the region. So great to hear from you. We're going to go next to Tannen Harmon from Wild Heart Ministries. Tannen, great to have you with us. And why don't you start just by introducing Wild Heart a little bit more to our audience? What is Wild Heart? What do you guys do?
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me on here. It's kind of fun to look around and see the lineup we have today. I feel kind of small compared to all these legends around here, but that's why I'm happy to tell you guys a little bit about who we are. So I'm actually located, Wild Heart's located right here on South 13th Street inside of Allison Hill. We've been here for about 9 years now, working in the community for about 6 of those years. And a big part of what we've been doing is just looking at where are the gaps inside the community as far as where services are needed, and what can we do to build bridges to bring transformation to those areas. And so perhaps the biggest way in which we're serving the community right now is combating blight through beautification. So very similar to some of the things that we just heard Samantha discussing about, installing art through the community, cleaning up trash, boarding up abandoned buildings, and a lot of collaborative efforts among different organizations, faith-based groups within the city of Harrisburg as well, the Parks Department, the Public Works Department, Public Safety Department. So just trying to see what we can do to bring everybody to the table to meet the needs of the residents in the community.
Oh, that's terrific. And how has the pandemic sort of affected the work that you all have been doing over the past year?
Yeah, so the pandemic presented a really unique opportunity for us. I think one of the problems that we don't have is getting volunteer help because for whatever reason, people just really love the opportunities that they have to serve and to be a part of helping others inside of the Hill. And so when the pandemic provided everybody an opportunity to confront how relevant maybe their vision was with their organization, we actually ended up mobilizing several of our volunteers to help support some of the more necessary services taking place during the pandemic, like food distribution. So we actually worked with the city's police department out of the Boys and Girls Club to help prepare boxes that were being distributed to students out of John Harris High and all across the city. We also worked with Brethren Church over on Hummel Street. They needed help with volunteers getting food ready and out the door. And then, of course, we found a way how to continue to empower residents to take ownership over their area to keep things clean during the pandemic, because it's an outdoor event. Cleaning up is a pretty safe thing. So we actually were dropping off supplies and giving them the resources needed in order to keep the streets clean while we were all trying to figure out what was going to be happening during the pandemic. So if anything, we were just blessed to be able to say, hey, we have an army of people who are passionate to serve, and we can kind of help direct them to where it's needed.
Yeah, no, that's great. I've seen you. I've seen your volunteer outreach efforts at work firsthand. I mean, when you put out a call, people come running from all over, and that's inspiring. So what's coming up? What's next for Wild Heart? And if people are watching and they want to volunteer and they haven't yet, what sort of things are on the horizon?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people know us about for our cleanup efforts that we do in the city. So this summer, it'll be our 5th summer project. We call it our Love the Hill Summer Project. And so we'll be taking 8 weeks of the summer, basically all of June and July, and mobilizing as many available hands as possible to be a part of cleaning up. This year, we'll actually be closing the loop on the entire area known as South Allison Hill. So it's about 70 blocks. We'll have volunteers going through, removing trash, doing landscaping, boarding up abandoned buildings, working with the cities side by side to make sure that we achieve our goals of a safe and beautiful community inside the Hill. So that'll be happening all through June and July. And then actually tomorrow, if you want to kind of come and get some more of the fun side of what we do, we're actually hosting a block party here at our property at 333 South 13th Street. And that'll be from 11 until 3. We'd love to have you come. It's a great opportunity just to meet members of the community, meet individuals who are passionate about serving in this community. And we like to work hard, but we also play very hard around here as well.
That's great. Good to know. And if you stand up a little bit, we'll see your T-shirt, which is really wonderful. We love the logo. How do folks get a T-shirt or support Wild Heart if they'd like to make a contribution?
Yeah, so easiest way to learn more about what's going on with us is you can actually go to lovethehillpa.org. That'll probably be the easier way, or you can go to our namesake, wildheartministries.net. But lovethehillpa.org, and there's actually a link there that says volunteer. And when you click on that, it'll show you upcoming events that are happening, as well as like a little form that you can fill out, and we'll follow up with you. What we really tried to do is not create any excuse for getting help somewhere, some way. So if you have an interest to do something inside of the community, and maybe it's not totally aligned with what we're doing, we personally feel like it's a blessing of ours to be able to facilitate volunteers and get them plugged into the organizations where maybe it works best, because we want to remove any barrier or obstacle to people wanting to do good things inside of the city of Harrisburg.
Great. Well, Tannen, one final question. So last year we partnered with you and a number of the other organizations that we're interviewing here today, Tri-County, LHAC, and others, on the South Allison Hill Safety Project. And that's something that the city has been funding. It's a multi-year project. Can you give any update at all on how things are going there?
Yeah, I mean, number one, I just want to say thanks again for offering your support to that. I think it's a really critical step to see what it looks like for a public collaboration with all these different nonprofit groups inside of the city, which I think is really just going to be special for the community, wanting to feel more connected and feel that their voice matters. So kudos to you for offering your support in that whole thing. We are, what Wild Heart is doing in a lot of ways is we're just using the resources available through that project to continue to do those things which we're doing right now that are focused on promoting public safety. And I know that one of the key things that we're really working towards is giving residents the opportunity to feel safe where they live. I know this, we've seen an increase in crime during the course of the pandemic. And so having good conversations with them, finding out what their needs are, and then taking action to take those steps to correct those things for them on a personal level, so that everybody inside the Hill can say that they're glad that they live here and they feel safe doing so.
Okay, thanks for that update. Thanks, Tannen. And let's go next to Amy Rote. She is the CEO and president of our chapter of Big Brothers Big Sisters. Amy, welcome. Tell us a little bit about Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Capital Region, and the way you all have been sort of coping through the pandemic.
Well, thank you. It is a pleasure to be back here with you this afternoon, and to especially recognize all of our volunteers. We cannot do our mission, which is to create and support one-to-one mentoring relationships that ignite the power and promise of youth, without volunteers. What we do is we connect those caring mentors, volunteers with littles in our community to help defend their potential and really inspire all of our kids to see a future that that they can achieve, certain dreams that they can achieve no matter how difficult things are. We support around 500 to 700 youth in a variety of different mentoring modules in 5 county footprints. So it's a large network that we support. And one thing that I think that a lot of individuals don't recognize about our program is we not only support that mentor and that mentee relationship, we also provide case management to the families. So when Kathy was talking about the Salvation Army and the food distribution and the camps, our case managers are offering those resources and referrals so that we are impacting that family unit as a whole, especially in COVID resources. As you can see on our website, we never stopped, we never missed a beat when it came to the pandemic. We transitioned everything to virtual, and that was really important to keep our kids connected to their mentor, but also connected to their peers, relationships that they've had, just to generate that sense of belonging. So, Mayor, we've been very busy.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure. And I know the needs are, especially for mentors, are greater than ever. So as kids have started to transition back to school, have you started to transition from virtual to in person a bit? How has that gone?
Yeah, I think with everyone, the transition has been slow. Our school-based programs are still meeting virtually because at this point, schools are just, themselves trying to reintegrate. But our community-based mentors, yes, they're following CDC guidelines. They're meeting, going to the parks, getting out during this warm weather, starting to do things together. Really, as an organization, we are a trauma-informed care organization. So we are really intentionally move forward with our match relationships so that we can help prevent any type of long-term negative effects of the pandemic. Because our kids, you guys all are aware, they've been lonely, isolated, anxiety, difficulty with online learning. So our mentors are there to not only be their friend, but they're providing that emotional support and math homework that they need so that our kids can be successful and we can prevent any long-term trauma from what they've experienced the last year.
And as you say, it's probably needed more than ever, especially say with the isolation and anxiety of the past year. We need those relationships. We need that sort of one-on-one mentorship. So if people are watching and they're interested, talk a little bit about how they can become a mentor and what is required of them.
I think it comes back, especially what Ross was saying, you don't have to have a certain skill set to be a volunteer. That's why our agency is here to provide you with the training, the resources, and the support to be a mentor in our program. We just invite anyone who's interested in changing the life of a child. And I'll tell you the most important trait for our mentors is consistency. It is the success for any mentoring relationship to show long-term impact. We ask our mentors to give about a year commitment, and we ask that you meet 2 to 3 times a month. Actual virtual and the pandemic has opened up a lot more ways for our volunteers to interact with their littles. They're FaceTiming, they're doing homework online together, they're meeting at a park to go out and go for a walk together. So there's a lot more options for our volunteers. It's easy. You just visit capbigs.org. You can fill out a volunteer application and our staff will be in contact with you for more information.
So it's a big commitment. It's a year. It's maybe 2 to 3 times a month. But think of the difference you can make in someone's life with that type of a commitment. And it's needed now more than ever. Can you tell us a little bit about this Go Big for Kids' Sake campaign?
Absolutely. So, if you're not ready to step into a mentoring relationship, there is a place for you with our agency. There's always a place. And right now, we're typically launching our biggest fundraising event, Bold for Kids' Sake, but because of the pandemic and the safety, that's just not possible this year. So we are asking individuals who want to support our organization to go big for kids' sake and identify your own challenge. We have currently right now, due to our support from Belco Community Credit Union, they just launched a virtual 5K for Big Brothers Big Sisters. They're going big for kids' sake by walking and running and fundraising for us. But right now, we call them the do-it-yourself, the DIY challenges. You can run for kids' sake, swim, read. I think we actually have a group that is crocheting for big brothers, big sisters. So you can go big for kids' sake in any way. You can register as an individual, you can register as a team, and just keep an eye on our event page, because as everyone here is talking on the nonprofit sector, it's so important to have that event participation and fundraising participation to help support all of our missions.
Oh, that's great to hear. What a great way for people to get involved and maybe get involved in groups. And I think it's innovative and really really important. So let's go big for kids' sake. Thank you, Amy, for joining us. Really appreciate it. Yeah, let's go next to Adia Walker, the regional director for the Girl Scouts of America. Adia, it is great to have you. Tell me a little bit about what Girl Scout volunteers do and how they're impacting our community here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So Girl Scouts in the heart of Pennsylvania has a mission to build girls of courage and confidence and character who make the world a better place. And right here in Harrisburg, we have almost 200 volunteers supporting over 50 troops that is bringing the Girl Scout leadership experience to over 500 girls. And our Girl Scout volunteers serve as role models for girls, any girls in grades K all the way up through grade 12. And they help them to develop important leadership skills that research has shown helps them to be successful in school and also in their future careers. So our amazing volunteers are what makes that all possible for us to bring a variety of fun and exciting programs and events that offer our girls a safe place where they can make new friends and explore their interests and give back to their communities. Community service is actually a really big focus of a lot of our troops. And this allows the girls to develop a passion for helping out others in their local community. And they carry this passion with them throughout their lives a lot of times. And so when people support Girl Scouts or volunteer with Girl Scouts, they're also supporting a lot of other local nonprofits that these troops provide services to.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. Let me ask you the same question I've been asking some of the other organizations. How has Girl Scouts adapted to the COVID pandemic, and how have the opportunities for volunteering maybe shifted or changed over the past year?
Absolutely. So this past year, we all know, has been difficult for so many people, and our kids have really had their worlds turned upside down. And for many girls, Girl Scouts may have been the only constant thing in their life as everything else was shifting and changing and so uncertain. I remember hearing one story of a Girl Scout. Her mother found her sleeping in her Girl Scout vest. And when asked why, she said it helped her feel safe and connected to her Girl Scout sisters. So our volunteers really, they know that Girl Scouts was so important for these girls, and they had to keep going and provide that connection and that feeling of safety for our girls. So they quickly, adapted. They learned how to lead virtual troop meetings. They adapted in-person events when that was possible, so that they would follow all of the requirements and health practices. So they figured out ways of contactless delivery for supplies, for upcoming projects. And they helped, the families work with the girls to earn badges at home. And they came up with really creative solutions that helped them continue giving back to the community. I remember hearing of a troop here in Harrisburg. They were working on one of their higher awards, and it culminates in a service project. And they wanted to do a collection drive collecting stuffed animals for local EMTs so they could give out to their pediatric patients when they ride in the ambulance. And so the volunteers really spent a lot of time working with the girls in the troop to figure out how they could still safely hold that outdoors, spaced far apart, and still collect those animals in a contactless way. So it was really inspiring to see just how much they were creative and came up with solutions to just keep the mission going.
Wow, that's great to hear. And, hard for me to imagine a better role model than former First Lady Michelle Obama. And I understand that you all have some new volunteer opportunities through a partnership with the former First Lady called the Becoming Me Partnership. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. We're very excited for this new partnership. So the Becoming Me program is a collaboration between Penguin Random House and former First Lady Michelle Obama. And it follows the recent publication of Mrs. Obama's book, Becoming, adapted for young readers. So this offers a unique opportunity for Girl Scouts to embark on their journeys to become their best selves. And the program actually includes a virtual event with Mrs. Obama, and also programming that walks girls through earning different badges at the different Girl Scout levels. And the program is available at no cost to any Girl Scout who's enrolled for the upcoming membership year. If they enroll by April 30th, so 1 week from today, they will be eligible to attend the free virtual event hosted by Mrs. Obama.
Mm.
So we're looking for adults who are interested in volunteering to facilitate a 6 to 8 week program that is the Becoming Me program that's centered around a lot of the core themes from Mrs. Obama's book that align with the Girl Scout mission. And those themes are things like knowing and telling your story, maintaining mental health and wellness, and supporting and nurturing girls on their own personal journeys as well too.
Wow. Well, thanks for telling us about that. I can't think of a better program, and I hope people will sign up and volunteer and become a part of that. We're very fortunate to have you here in Harrisburg and Central Pennsylvania. We're going to go next to Laura Burke, who is the executive director at the American Red Cross. And boy, Laura, I'm sure the American Red Cross has been busy, but tell me about the different volunteer opportunities that exist within the Red Cross.
Thank you, and thank you for having me, and happy National Volunteer Week.
Yeah.
To all the volunteers out there in the community. We all appreciate you, and I hope I speak for all my nonprofit leaders out there to say thank you. Here at the Red Cross, we are 90% of our workforce is volunteer. We currently operate in Central PA in 8 counties, and in these 8 counties, we are supported by 540 volunteers in a variety of roles. We are a humanitarian organization at our core, and we have various lines of service that our volunteers support, including disaster, blood services, service to the armed forces, international services, and many more. We have a lot of different roles for all skill sets and all areas of interest. So we have roles as disaster action team members, so really on the front line of those home fire events or disaster events in the community. We have opportunities for those who want to support in a role with casework, disaster mental health volunteers, blood donor ambassadors at all of our blood drives, caseworkers for our Service to the Armed Forces Division, disaster preparedness instructors, and so many more.
Wow, that's incredible, and I imagine there's real opportunities for training and learning in these various endeavors. Can you talk about the type of training that the Red Cross might provide to its volunteers?
Absolutely. We have a team, a staff member who is available for every step of the volunteers' training journey. Our training right now is all online. So what you would do is you would go to redcross.org/volunteer to start your journey as a volunteer, fill out your application, and you will be contacted by a member of our team who will assign you a suite of online courses to take to start your journey. And then we will guide you through the process step by step and orient you on your way. And it's a really turnkey experience for our volunteers, and they can make a huge impact in whatever skill set or area they're interested in.
Wow. If there is one continuous theme of today's program, it is certainly that opportunities abound for people to get involved and make a real difference here in Harrisburg and the region. And I hope folks will take advantage of it. Can you talk about the particular needs in this sort of time where we're trying to emerge from the health emergency and transition to a post-COVID era? What's most needed from a volunteer standpoint?
Here in Central PA, we have a need, which is kind of a trend nationwide, for 3 key areas. One is our blood donor ambassadors, so supporting our blood drives, which are still continuing and remaining in person following health guidance, CDC guidelines. So we really need health volunteers to support our blood drives. Additionally, in the disaster line of service, we need disaster action team members. So that individual would be on the front line of a disaster, assisting the families during sometimes the worst day of their lives. So we really need a good team of compassionate individuals who want to roll up their sleeves and help in that capacity, as well as our disaster health service volunteers who support the disaster team with various needs related to health services. So those are the 3 key areas where we would love to have support. And I must say that during this pandemic, we have adapted a lot of our services to the virtual environment to make sure everyone is safe. The health and safety of our workforce and our clients are the most important thing that we focus on. And we have roles that are for any comfort level throughout this pandemic.
Well, thank you so much, Laura, and thank you for all the work that the Red Cross does to help folks, especially with disaster and emergency recovery. And a good reminder that one easy way to volunteer and to help is to give blood, and there's definitely a need for that, especially amidst the current health crisis. So thanks for joining us. And we're going to go last, but certainly not least, to Gloria Vasquez Merrick, who is the Executive Director at the Latino Hispanic American Community Center, affectionately known as LHAC. And Gloria, I started the show by talking a little bit about how we were together yesterday for the amazing vaccine clinic that you had organized there up on Derry Street. Do you want to just talk about your reflections on that event? I got to meet many of your volunteers, and they were doing a wonderful job of outreach and providing really fantastic hospitality for all those in the community.
Yes, yesterday was a great day. One of the things that we've been trying to do is trying to close the gap on health disparities in terms of different things happening during COVID. And one of the things I've been working on for quite some time is trying to bring clinics to Allison Hill. And we've done so successfully. And you got to see firsthand yesterday that, you know, we partnered with Latino Connection. We had Kate come out, and we don't need a huge parking lot to run our clinics, as you saw. And so we had a lot of walkers come up. We've been making calls for the past 2 weeks now. And we actually scheduled 288 people for the vaccine yesterday. So we're really excited about that. It's a huge need. The entire clinic was run in Spanish and English. All of our volunteers were bilingual, with the exception of 1 or 2 nurses that were actually doing the injections. That makes a big difference. You know, having an environment, a culturally conducive environment where the Latino Hispanic American community can come and feel comfortable, feel they're in a safe space, they feel, you know, they trust us, they know us. And here we are conducting a COVID vaccine. And so we've done a few of those now. We did another one with Vanessa Santiago with the Commerce Clinic. We've done one with Hershey Penn State nurses. And we were offered to do another one coming up. You know, they like to come out to the Latino Center's vaccine clinics because we have a great turnout. We have a low absentee rate in terms of the appointments and so forth. And so we're doing a great thing there with these clinics. And thanks to all our volunteers and partners. And thank you for coming out yesterday to experience it firsthand.
It was a wonderfully successful event, and it was great to see so many folks just feeling comfortable and enabled literally to walk over. It was a great event for the heart of Allison Hill. But so let's talk a little bit more about the Latino Center. You know, what opportunities exist currently now for volunteers, and what are some of the programs you're looking forward to in the months to come?
Well, we're continuing. During the pandemic did not stop the Latino Center from moving forward and doing its and carrying out its mission. And so the first month we went mobile, sort of like what some of the others have indicated here. We went remote, I should say. And we went remote in terms of calling our clients and calling everyone just to let them know what is COVID, what is this pandemic all about, and talking to them in Spanish. We called hundreds and hundreds of clients that first month, especially our seniors, to try and keep them safe. Then we moved from being remote and doing a lot on the phone to then in April, going to food distribution. As a matter of fact, this year we celebrated our first year anniversary of providing food to individuals, you know, head of household and others during the pandemic. So first year anniversary this year, and we've helped over 21,000 families just in the past year with helping to meet their food needs. And so other things that we've done during the pandemic is that we've helped, in keeping with our mission, is we have a senior program, and we started contacting our seniors right away. They had a lot of questions. We started porch drop-offs right away. We're still running virtual bingo. So we have some health organizations that come in. We bring some of the seniors in. Most have been vaccinated by now with both vaccines and feel more comfortable having them in. And, you know, still social distances and so forth, but meeting their food nutrition needs, meeting their mental health needs, their needs to get out of the office, out of the home and somewhere else to visit with their friends, and then meeting their those social needs, playing bingo and things like that, and doing all of that virtually. The other thing that we're doing, and we are doing right now, just in the midst of it, is our youth program. So we do have a Latino youth program, or it is a program in cooperation with the Harrisburg School District. So our students are right now being mentored, and they go through a 2-month process. And, you know, that's all about community service, building volunteerism. It's about having the basic leadership skills that they need, the career pathways, talking about career pathways. And just today I was talking with Hershey Company, because Hershey Company does all of our mentoring of our students in that program, but we also have volunteers to come do that mentoring. And then lastly, you know, we have we have other activities going on at the center. We've had mental health days for our kids and the children in the community who feel, you know, kind of left out and have experienced this pandemic, which has quite honestly put all of us on common ground. It's not only about serving people who are below poverty, but it's about, you know, youth learning and our children learning about this pandemic has put them all on even keel, that every youth that they know has gone through a pandemic, maybe not poverty and maybe not some other things, but everyone is on even keel with this pandemic. And so it's an opportunity to get our youth involved.
Yeah, that's terrific. Appreciate all that you do, and you know, as this show is about spotlighting volunteerism and opportunities for people to get involved. Maybe in closing, do you have any special volunteer stories that you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, just a couple volunteer stories. We've had Catherine Corbiny, who has never missed a food distribution. I think she was sick one time, but for the entire year, she has been at every food distribution event. And so to me, that's a special story. Also, I also wanted to mention, just as an aside, that our volunteers do not have to be bilingual. So I just want to put that out there, because I do hear a lot of questions about that. And you do not have to be. We can put you in the front end, in the front office, if you are bilingual. And then there's a lot of work on the back end with our festivals and events and things that you can do. The other thing is that we had someone volunteer to run our ESL program. And during the pandemic, she ceased to provide that. So we are looking for volunteers if any of us is interested in doing ESL for our community, English as a second language. We're noticing how much of an impact it has when you lose a volunteer that has been so impactful in your organization. And so that's another success story, that we've had Kathy Wells running our ESL program 3 times a week voluntarily. And, you know, she's just been amazing. And so that's a success story for us. And we like sharing those. And we look forward to getting more volunteers at the Latino Center.
Thanks, and I hope everybody will sign up. And thank you, Gloria, for sharing that. In a moment, I know we're going to make sure that we have all those websites and links up here for people, so that anyone who wants to volunteer can find out exactly the best and easiest way to get in touch with these incredible organizations. And I know we've covered a lot of ground, but are there some questions from viewers that we'd like to share with the panel here as we wrap up?
No questions yet at this time, but we did put links to all the volunteer organizations on the Facebook Live comment section.
Okay, great. Well, as I say, we've covered a tremendous amount of ground here, and I hope people will take advantage of these volunteer opportunities within the city and the region. I know they are, but this is a great opportunity, really post-COVID, to get out there, to make a difference, and to help us all recover and rebound stronger than ever, come back stronger than ever in our new post-COVID world. So we've heard stories of volunteerism and opportunities and needs from each of these incredible organizations. You know, what a group of organizations we have here in the city of Harrisburg. Thank you all for joining us today on this episode of Community Conversations. We will be back next Friday at noon and every Friday at noon to share stories with you that matter to our viewers and our residents. Until next week, I'm Mayor Eric Papenfuss saying thanks for watching, stay safe, and be well.